What's up, guys? Big Boost here. Oh, sorry, Little Boost here. Drift Happy TV. Welcome back to R&D Garage. We're talking about nitrous today. I'm gonna be installing nitrous on this 370Z today, and I'm gonna walk you through the steps of how to run nitrous safely and accurately so you don't blow up your engine. First of all, I want to talk about what kinds of nitrous systems there are out there in the market. There's many out there. We're going to be using today a Nitrous Express system. They send you a bunch of stuff already that you need with the kit for a specific car, whatever you're working on. This specific car is an HR, which has 2 intakes. So as you can see, we're going to be running nitrous and fuel to either side. There's also the Sniper kit and obviously the nitrous Holley performance side of that. I have that in my Z. It works well. They're the same thing. Everything's the same thing. There are a couple differences in bottle nozzles. This one's a lot nicer, has better control, and there are a couple differences in nitrous control. Now, since the beginning of time, how people have ran nitrous on all their cars is a full throttle switch. It's this little thing that they put behind their pedal, and when their pedal is depressed all the way down, it activates nitrous. When you let go, it unactivates it. That is how nitrous has been run since the beginning of time. You run a certain size jet for fuel and nitrous and hope that it's a good AFR according to some little paper that they tell you, and that's it. And that is just not safe, not the way we should be running nitrous. We're smarter than that. It's 2020. Most aftermarket computers can handle nitrous now, and there's even other standalone systems that can tune nitrous, which is what we're going to be using today on this 370. There are 3 types of systems. One is obviously mechanical, which is just a switch and that's it. The second system is called a fail-safe. It's like an Innovate gauge like this one. This is not one, but it's the same brand and it looks exactly the same. It just has different inputs and outputs. It reads AFR, RPM window, and TPS or drive-by-wire, depending, same thing. That way it knows wide open throttle or whatever percentage you want to set it to. And then what it does is, all it does is it cuts the nitrous. If you are outside the parameters that you set in the gauge, it just turns it off, which is safe. It's called a fail safe. It's great, but sometimes it's turning on and off a lot, and it sucks, specifically in drifting for us. To get away from that one and improve even more the mechanical, remember, that sucks. This works, but it's still kind of 2008. Then we have this. Nitrous Express came out with the Maximizer. This is the Maximizer 5, which is their new system. It's amazing. I love it. Me and Matt both run it. It's this little, it's a lot of wiring, hold on. And it's this little box. And this box controls your nitrous. These are the solenoids we're going to be using today. And that little box controls the solenoids individually. What it does is, one solenoid is for fuel, the other one's for nitrous. Depending on the AFR that it sees, it actually tunes the nitrous. It can cut back on fuel by changing the pulse width on the solenoid, or it can cut back on nitrous in case you're running too rich, which is highly unlikely. The awesome part about this, it can detect bottle pressure. You can set ramps from time or RPM or throttle precision, all kinds of stuff. I'll be showing you that in a minute. It is already set up in my Z, so I can just hook up and show you. Now, when you do purchase this, you do need a wideband. So we got this AEM right here, just a regular wideband to read AFR with a 5-volt output, which is going to connect to this to give us AFR. That is the most important thing. That's how you'll be able to tune it. What this does is, because we can see AFR live, it will not cut the nitrous hard like the Innovate would. It would just pulse with the solenoid depending on the lean or rich mixture to keep your AFR in line to whatever you set it. What that means is, when you're drifting, you're on throttle, you won't feel the car like jerk and go meh, 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 like this would do. It'll just tune itself, and you just drive, and you don't even feel it. Trust me, guys. Now this one, you also don't feel it, and it is the best, obviously, for getting the most out of your nitrous, but it is also the one that blows up the most engines. Let's talk about certain things you need when installing your nitrous. You need a bottle. You need a line from the bottle to your nitrous solenoid, which then splits up to either 1 or 2 intakes, whatever you have. Then you need a fuel pressure regulator, adapter, or something to grab from your fuel line to a fuel solenoid, which then goes to the same nozzle or divided nozzle, depending if you have two intakes, to add fuel. This is a wet shot, not a dry shot. We're going to be running a 75 shot. Anything after 50, you kind of want wet shot, and lower spark plugs, colder spark plugs. Then you need a relay to turn on the system, and then you need a controller to tell it when to activate in the right windows, and that's what the Nitrous Maximizer 5 is, or the Innovate gauge. Or if you just want to go mechanical, you just need that one little switch with that one wire, and when that switch is on, the nitrous is on, and you know, good luck. This box here is the most famous box you all know. It is everyone's favorite box. It is the purge system. This is your nitrous solenoid. That is the purge. It just goes in line with the line coming from the tank, and then it goes down, and then you can, there it goes, it just fell out. It's like, oh, I want to see. Oh, this is the fitting, so that goes in line, and then when you activate the button switch, then it purges the nitrous to get the air out of the line, and then you have nitrous instant when the solenoid opens. That's everybody's favorite. You don't necessarily need it. You can run a little bit of air. It's not going to affect anything, but obviously it's fun. So nitrous is meant to put a smile on your face. If it does that because you're going fast, or because you're purging and showing off to somebody and you're smiling, it doesn't matter. It's both fun. That is the point of nitrous. Smile, whether it's regardless. This box here is our fuel pressure regulator adapter. This basically bolts down to your fuel rail, and it goes down in there with an O-ring, and then your fuel line goes in there, and then it splits off to a 1/8 NPT, which goes to the fuel side of the fuel solenoid. Obviously the line coming from the bottle, the relay I was talking about, and they include a bunch of wiring and things, and there's an on button somewhere here. You do not want it on all the time. You want to be able to turn it off in case of emergencies. Okay, I know I'm talking a lot, but one last piece of information. What does nitrous do? Nitrous raises the compression in the cylinder, just gives more oxygen. It's a little different than boost, but it's boost, but there's just no pressure. It's kind of hard to explain. There's no pressure in the intake manifold, but there's pressure in the cylinder, just higher compression. It's great. You won't break piping, you don't have boost leaks, you don't have none of that stuff. Now you could have a nitrous leak, which is not flammable, unlike most believed. You cannot blow up nitrous. We've seen plenty of videos of cars catching on fire, going on fire, and the bottle and the system was fine. Nothing blew up. This wasn't no Fast and Furious, so don't be scared of it. Most people utilize nitrous to get an NA car up to par with a bunch of other people. You can run whatever shot size you want. Shots is horsepower. If you hear 75 shot, that's a 75 horsepower increase. 100 shot, 100 horsepower increase. It's pretty spot on actually when it comes to the dyno. Another reason people run nitrous is to spool their turbos. That is not the turbo I'm running in this JZ. That's a smaller turbo. The turbo I'm running is pretty big, and I assume I'm going to have lag. Best way to not have lag is VVTi, which I don't have, or nitrous. So I'm going to be running a 50 shot of nitrous in this, probably from like a 2000 to 3500 window, just to spool the turbo. First of all, is finding a good location for your solenoids. Because this is a dual intake throttle body car, then you have 4 lines, which makes it that much harder to get the reach. And of course you still have the fuel line. The fuel pressure regulator is actually here on this car, and that's where my adapter is going to go. So my line, one of the lines is going to have to go from there to this. The line they sent me is way too short. It would work great if my intake was only on one side, because then I could just boop and it'd be done, but I have intakes on both sides, so won't work. So I need to replace that line. I am thinking of putting this back here somewhere there. Plenty of room. This hood actually ends up like all the way up here, so don't worry about those lines. Plus they're going to be underneath this all the way down, and I like putting them underneath the intake. It's just what looks cleaner to me. The bad part about putting it underneath the intake is if you need to change the shots, then you have to remove the intake, which kind of sucks in this car because this is in the way. So I haven't decided where I'm going to put them yet. We'll figure that out later, but I do know that the solenoid's got to go there so the lines reach both sides. Next, we're going to be talking about bottle placement. This is very, very important. People overlook this step way too often. They think, oh, I just put it anywhere. No, 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 no. This matters a lot. There's a reason the bottle is at an incline. There's also a reason the nozzle is usually facing down and the label is facing up. If this is obviously crooked, this should be facing straight up. If you mount it like this, straight on in this direction with the car, what happens is the G-forces, when you accelerate, it is a fluid in there. It pretend it's a cup, you know, there's fluid in there, so it all goes to the back. Inside this bottle, there's a big pickup tube that goes all the way from here, and right about here it curves down and goes to the end of this bottle at the bottom, literally right here. Usually goes actually over here. It goes opposite to where that Nitrous Express label is. The best way if you don't have the label or it's broken, it is wherever this dash 4 fitting is. Follow that line. That is where that pickup tube starts. This is very important, because what happens is if you were to put this line, people are like, oh, I want this line to go sideways because it'll look pretty. No. And then you put a gauge on this side or something. Actually, that's the pressure release valve. Regardless, if you want to put a gauge here and you want it to face up and you want this line to come over to the side, you just put your pickup tube over here. So you're not even going to be able to run half of that bottle. After half of that bottle, it's not going to pick up any nitrous. You're not using your full bottle. Next is if you're going to put it sideways like this. That's how it is on my car. This is why this bottle is turned the way you see it, because the pickup tube is now at a 45-degree angle over here. If you see that, it's a 45 that way, which actually means it goes in this direction. I'm sorry. There we go. So now my pickup tube is somewhere over here. What does that mean? When I accelerate and it goes in this direction, I can pick up all that fluid. Plus, because the bottle is at an incline this way, it's all going to come to this corner where my pickup is at. Remember, wherever this dash fitting is pointing, 45-degree angle this way, backwards always if it's sideways, and then if it's straight, down. Okay, don't mess this up, very important, or you're not using your whole bottle. We installed Nitrous with an Innovate failsafe gauge on Matt's car probably about 2 years ago. That blue car you see up on that rack over there, and it's been doing great on a 75 shot, and that's what made me realize Nitrous can be safe and it's fine, especially for VQs. So that's why I put Nitrous on my Z. I ended up using the same system as him with the Nitrous Express now. Maximizer 5, because when he was drifting, he would tell me the Innovate gauge would sometimes just cut out. So he's mid-drift, you know, on the door somebody, and it cut out, and you would feel like VTEC dropping or VTEC kicking in. Sort of similar. He said he was tired of it, so he ended up going with the Maximizer 5, which is a true and tried tunable system, which doesn't cut nitrous anymore. It just pulls back on the solenoid by changing the pulse width. In my Z, the nitrous only turns on when the key is on, and then I turn on my switch, and then I plug it into my computer. Get some of this glare out. Then we go and we open Maximizer 5 software. Search for controller. Yes. Controller found. Here we go. You can see I have AFR control set up. RPM on a Windows switch from 2000 to 6000 because I'm crazy, don't care. TPS, arm percentage after 70% because it's on a scale like you see here, or ramp. I'm not using map, but you can if you want to. Lambda, air fuel ratio, that's my AFR AM wideband. Speed sensor if you wanted to for like drag racing stuff. NOS bottle pressure, which I do have, and I have settings for it right there, and it won't, let's see, disable nitrous above 1300 psi and under 500. When all of these meet the right criteria, it engages the nitrous. Here is my closed loop setup on a ramp. Basically at 70% throttle we start with a 75% shot, 100% we end with 100%, but I actually changed that a little bit. So 70% throttle to whatever that is, let me see, 75, 80, 85 or so, we end up with 100% of the shot. Just a very small light ramp. You can do all kinds of stuff. This is a throttle position based ramp. You can do RPM based, time based, pressure based, speed based, all kinds of stuff. There is a first gear RPM lockout, retard output. Here's my lambda set point at 11.3 AFR. And if we go here, we can see some data logs that I have. Let's look at this one here. So let's see, we activate RPM, output 1, which I believe is nitrous, output 2, which I believe is fuel, AFR factor, nope, not the factor, we need the actual lambda. And this is a good depiction of what I mean when the Maximizer 5 is being used. Looks like it went really rich down here. It was a little lean, then it went really rich. The white is the fuel. It started pulsing fuel down really quickly. And as the fuel comes down, the AFR comes up to 11.3 where I want it or so. Obviously it's very all over the place because it's lambda, but that's a good depiction of how this Nitrous Express thing works. It pulses the bandwidth, so you get a little less fuel, a little higher AFR. Nitrous stayed constant, so I didn't lose my power band. Second pull was very short, and it looks like the AFR didn't even have enough time to get down, but it stayed mostly. The fuel started dropping at the end there. I know this might be boring to some, but if you want to understand how nitrous works, then you know this can be kind of interesting. There is a lot to learn and understand. Like I was explaining in there, that's a 4.5 second interval data log, which is very, very short. It was probably a quick blip of the throttle for just a shot. But when you're drifting, you stay in that window and full throttle range for more than 30 seconds sometimes. Well, that's actually high, but at least more than 10 seconds. And it could be longer, depends on, you know, a transition, how long the sweeper is, whatever. In those long throttle commitment with nitrous, the Maximizer 5 exceeds everything because it can tune itself so your motor stays safe. On short burst, the AFR cut 1 would be great, maybe for street driving, certain pulls, but when you start changing dynamics of things, heat, fuel, G-forces, bottle pressure, a lot of stuff, then the Maximizer 5 is definitely well equipped for the job. Another thing I need to state is nitrous goes from a gas to a fluid all the time, depending on pressure. I believe it's like around 1,000 psi. If you shake it, it gets colder, which goes into gas. The bottle pressure drops, and the lower the pressure, the less nitrous you're using, obviously. When you leave the bottle in your car and it's hot out, or the sun's out, or, you know, it's cooking it, especially in the trunk where it's exposed on the Z hatch, you can cook the bottle pressure. I've had my bottle at 1500 psi, which is really high. Obviously you just saw them, a Maximizer 5 won't even let me use it at that pressure. It can be unsafe. The higher the pressure, the bigger the shot you're using. So if your pressure is that high, it could be unsafe. Yes, the Maximizer might still be able to tune it, but if it runs out of fuel jet, then it starts pulling on the nitrous. It's just not safe. There's no reason to it. Just don't run high bottle pressure. We've seen all the drag people that like to brag and like, yeah, I'll bring a torch and I cook that thing up, boy. No, don't do that. I have to finish installing this kit. I know that's kind of boring. It's just running the lines inside and doing the wiring and hiding everything and just putting a switch. But just to make this video a little bit more interesting, I'm gonna show you guys the nitrous pulls on my Z and the purge and the fun part of nitrous. Made it to Big Boost shop.
What's up, man?
He's planning, because he's working on cars now, on all kinds of stuff. If you need any help, engine building.
I need help, actually.
What?
You want to help me with remove the vinyl of my car?
No.
Dude.
No.
I've been 2 days at it. It sucks.
Not happening. But
yes, I am working on.
If somebody needs help, he said he'll help you.
Yes.
Make intercooler piping, exhaust, clutches, brakes, engine builds.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah, like my 2J.
I do pretty much everything minus working on automatic transmissions. But what's up with this? You told me something.
I'll show you. So like I showed you guys in the other car, the other solenoids I'm using are different from mine. Mine are this individual ones. They all mount to a bracket. That's my nitrous is the blue, the red is the fuel, and they go to my one intake, and it's underneath.
So I got one question. How much horsepower did he get?
Oh, that's my friend Carl. He came with the car. I feel like it's a good luck charm, so I haven't removed him. He rides with me.
Is that a frog?
Yes.
Was a frog?
Was a frog. This right here is my purge solenoid, and you can see the little line comes up. It ends up right there. Let me show you.
Let's see it. Nice.
Go for a ride.
That's actually pretty cool.
Come on.
Can I press the button?
Go for a ride.
Alright, let's go.
So this is a pull without nitrous, just the 1, 2, 3. Let's try that again.
I think if you go into gear, it will probably work a little bit better. So now I feel like I'm in a Honda instead of a 350.
Let's try that again, my bad.
Oh my god. Good thing I was filming that.
Ready? Alright, here we go. We got a light. But yeah, that was a pretty normal pull. Sounds like every other Z.
Yeah?
Kind of decent. It does have the white pipe and the plenum spacer and the test pipe, so it does eliminate some of that restriction from the exhaust. But now with nitrous, give it a little, check this out right here. Little purge, make sure everybody knows. And then look around. This is Mexico though, so it's okay. Oh.
It's way faster.
It's way faster.
And it smells different too.
Yeah.
It smells different.
Hold on.
Oh god.
That's the nitrous.
I was like, I'm gonna die with this thing, but then he nailed it. He didn't hit anything yet.
So that's gonna be it for this nitrous video. I hope you guys understood a little bit more and got a little clearer. A lot of people have been asking me about nitrous on my Z for a very long time, how I'm running it, what kind of setups there are. So there you go. And a quick reminder, Big Boost has his own merch he sells, so do I. BigBoostShop.com, DriftHappy.com. Don't forget to check it out. Help the channel, support, like, subscribe, share with your friends, run nitrous. And if you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram or on the comments below. We are gonna have a nitrous refill station at the shop soon, hopefully. Me and Matt just go through nitrous a lot, so we figure we get our own and then we can fill bottles for other people. So anyone that's local, and if you need nitrous, hit us up. We're not ready yet, but you will hear about it on Instagram, so make sure you follow Drift Happy on Instagram or Matt the Ginge. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, watching. Goodbye.